We could survive that. We could survive that. We could survive it. Hello and welcome to We Could Survive That, your survival guide to the movies. I'm Jack, and today I'm joined by a man who's calling in from Michigan, Utah, Wisconsin. Who's calling in from wherever he's calling from is Chris.
Why America?
I don't know.
I really thought you was going to go with Japan, given the film we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Or was it because, it is America and Japan, isn't it? Or the United Nations. And there's always a shot of a satellite as a signal bounces back and forth. So imagine that now I'm talking and the signal's bouncing up on the invisible wavelengths of the universe and coming back down to you.
It's coming from that flying saucer that the UN apparently built.
Yeah, what was that? Is that meant to be a satellite? It looked like a UFO.
I think it was. Look, Chris, we're doing the original 1962 Clash of the Titans, King Kong versus Godzilla. You recognise that in the 60s version, King Kong gets top billing, whereas in the 2021 version, Godzilla gets top billing, Chris. Oh, so the power dynamic shifted. Star power, Chris.
I don't know, does King Kong get top billing in this? I think he gets his ass handed to him in this, if I must say so.
No, it gets top billing and he pulls out the victory. Spoiler alert for this really old racist film, Chris.
This film's not racist.
There's blackface.
Was it?
Yep.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's a product of its time, Chris, in many ways. I'm sure we'll get into it.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, we're doing the original King Kong versus Godzilla because the 2021 version only came out yesterday and neither of us have had a chance to watch it, have we, Chris? So,
Not yet, no.
Yeah, save that for next week, maybe?
Yeah, we'll have watched it by next week.
Yeah, a 1-2 punch of probably exactly the same film, but of various special effects quality, and hopefully the 2021 version isn't culturally insensitive.
I hope there's lightning that powers up King Kong as well.
Yeah. The script for this, Chris, if we're getting into it and how these two titans came together, they wanted to have King Kong and Godzilla fight for a while, but there was never a deal put forward until Toho eventually got the rights to make the film. So this is a Japanese joint, and we're going to see next week how the US deals with putting these two together. But yeah, the Suitmation stuff, it is a very Japanese style film, for better or worse. The version we watched was the English version, which is slightly different to the Japanese version of the film. So the UN guys, this is mostly framed with news reports and people going, let's have a look at the news. There's a giant monster in the Antarctic and it's coming out. Also, there's earthquakes and other random shit going on. Oh, and we've found an island and there are natives that claim there's a god. It's very random news reporting, framing, and a paleontologist that teaches about dinosaurs by going onto the news and holding up a kid's book with dinosaur drawings.
I don't see what the problem is with this. Also, the news with the United Nations thing is just a plain office with the flag pinned up on the wall.
Yeah, but
pretty impressive set pieces.
Is it in a spaceship? Is that office in a spaceship?
No, I think it's meant to be how impressive it is. That it's meant to be a satellite that allows this American newsreader to contact a newsreader in Japan almost instantaneously. In 1962, that was probably quite impressive back then.
Oh yeah, I forgot it's the 60s. Had they invented the fax machine yet? I don't know.
No idea, but they got a high-tech UFO satellite thing that allows them to communicate, and they always look incredibly calm. Also, are they already aware of Godzilla's presence in this? Because Godzilla is frozen in an iceberg at the start of this film, and the nuclear submarine hits it somehow and releases them. And the helicopter pilot sees Godzilla and goes, Godzilla! And it's like, how do you know that's Godzilla? Has Godzilla already been around? Is this linked to other films?
It is, yeah. So this is a continuation of the last Toho Godzilla film. I don't know what it is. All of the Godzilla films at this time period are linked. I don't know when the timeline stops with the original run. But yeah, this is linked to a previous one and carries on into a different one. But that is confusing because in the American version, it's played as if this is the first time that Godzilla's ever shown up, but it isn't. So it's weird that they have a name for Godzilla, and then the next scene is, prehistoric dinosaurs are real, and they're frozen in the Antarctic, and now they're going to destroy Japan. So it's weird.
Yes, and the reason it's going to destroy Japan, or Godzilla, is because we found fossils of other Godzilla-type creatures in Japan, so Godzilla's just naturally going home.
I mean, if that's the theory, let's take it as face value, this is the first time Godzilla's appeared in this timeline, then he's been frozen for 1 million years or so, way more than 1 million years. The Earth changes, tectonic plates shift, and the placement of certain places changes. So after however hundreds of millions of years that Godzilla's been frozen, Japan wouldn't be in the same place as it is when he fell asleep to begin with. So, yeah.
But he knows how to get back because he's attracted to the lights of a train.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Choo-choo train, Chris. There's also a giant monkey in this as well, isn't there? The main star.
There's a Japanese pharmaceutical company that have discovered these red berries on an island, and these berries, if I remember correctly, you can eat them and sort of get high off of them without any negative side effects at all, like a safe drug, really.
The miracle drug. It's
exactly.
got everything you want. It's an upper, it's a downer, it's delicious, it's fruity. Having it in a drink, snort it, stick it up your bum. I don't know what you want to do with these berries, Chris. You do whatever you want. They're magical berries. And do you know what we need to advertise the magical properties of these magical uppy, downy, make you big and strong berries? A giant fucking monkey. That's what we need.
Pretty much, yes. And luckily, these berries only grow on this island where Kong is. And the natives use these berries to make it into a juice that Kong drinks and gets high off of and falls asleep to.
Not high, downers. They're downers for giant King Kongs. Look, I don't know what the berries do. The fucking MacGuffin berries. But...
Well, they say that berries at one point make the reason he's so big because he drinks these berries and they make him grow. So
yeah, why aren't the people on the island? It's not Skull Island, by the way. It's some generic island. But why aren't, if they're eating the berries, why aren't there giant people?
Maybe they're not eating the berries. They're keeping it for Kong.
Is that octopus eating the berries? Is that why the octopus is so big?
Oh yeah, it must be. Yeah, probably giant octopus.
Yeah, like the giant octopus fight?
No. Not particularly, because I thought they put in too much slimy, slurping, disgusting, wet tentacle noises. I was trying to watch it, and there was just loads of it all over the place. I was thinking, oh god, that's enough.
Yeah, the sound effects are weird in this. I haven't actually asked you, did you like this film?
I thought it was okay. I wasn't going to go into this film thinking, oh, it's going to be good. I went to this film thinking it's going to be awful. It's going to be 60s, so special effects aren't going to be particularly good. I mean, the version we watched wasn't even like a HD remaster, so it had the jumpy frames and the little black lines that shoot across the screen and that lot. So I was, yeah. But I enjoyed it anyway because of the influence of alcohol.
Oh, there we go.
While watching it.
Alcohol, the red berries of humanity.
Exactly. And you know what? It was all right. I finished the film and thought, I'm okay now. I can move on to something else. I didn't finish the film and think, oh, God, what a waste of time.
Well, it's quite short.
That was a thumbs up.
It's quite short, so that helps a bit. Although it does feel long. They're on that island for too long.
Do you think? I mean, I thought everything was all right. I mean, I didn't think it was on for. It didn't feel like the film was dragging on. I just thought that the fights between Kong and Godzilla were not choreographed very well, and Kong throwing rocks was quite appalling.
Well, look, the Godzilla suit is okay. The King Kong suit, though.
It's awful. What is wrong with his face?
I don't. Well, the thing is, the guys that Columbia that had the rights to King Kong at this point, whoever had the rights to King Kong said to Toho, you can't make the face look like the original face of King Kong. So they had to design it off of a baboon or something like that. They couldn't use the original face design, so that's why it looks a little weird.
Why couldn't they use the original face design? So they went, oh, you can use King Kong, the name, and the whole lore behind him, but you can't use his face.
Yeah, so they had to design a different face. They also said that he has to hold a woman at some point and climb a building, which is tricky because this King Kong is the size of most buildings.
But he does it anyway. So
Yeah.
it's like his signature thing is to hold a woman and climb a building.
Exactly, yeah. They had to put it in because that was part of the deal that they struck. Also, Toho made a standalone King Kong film as well. I don't know how good that is, but I won't be watching it. You can if you want, but it's out there.
I think I will watch it. I've started the series midway through, so I'll have to go back and do the other Godzillas as well.
Have you seen any other Toho Godzilla films?
I've not, but I've heard the first one they made, the first Godzilla film in 1954 or something like that. It's got a really high percentage on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's meant to be really good. It's meant to be one of these landmark films, that everyone should sort of see. Historic moment in cinema, as it were.
Well, yeah, it is. It's Japan's reaction to having nuclear weapons used against them. It's a good morality tale of man versus nature, that sort of stuff. And it did, of course, spring off this incredibly popular long-running franchise, which has Godzilla been going longer than pretty much
it's the longest running franchise, in cinematic history at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely got the most films. I mean, things like Dracula and Frankenstein were put to film probably earlier, but Godzilla's definitely the monster with the most number of films, which is also funny because if they couldn't get the rights to King Kong, they were going to have Godzilla versus Frankenstein instead. And
how the fuck are they going to do that? Just a giant Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, and elements of that script made their way into this film because King Kong, for no reason at all, is powered by electricity. So he gets supercharged if he gets struck by lightning for no reason at all. And which pays off in the end, where he's just randomly struck by a lightning storm and goes on to beat the shit out of Godzilla. So, yeah.
Well, obviously it makes sense because of the red berries. They're a conductive energy and they're flowing through his system.
Is that why they give you that high? Because they're messing with the electrons in your brain?
Exactly. I mean, how do you not pick up on that in the film? It's quite obvious that's what it is.
Jesus, there's too much dancing in this film as well.
That dance scene where, so basically, two representatives of this Japanese pharmaceutical company go to the island where Kong is, and they meet the natives, and they befriend them with cigarettes and radios.
Hey, kids, have some lung cancer.
The Kong turns up, and Kong drinks the red berry juice and falls asleep, and there's a big song and dance thing. And I felt like this song went on for a bloody long time.
Yep, and it pops up again as well. Apparently, they recorded the natives playing this song, and they use it later on in the film to send Kong to sleep. Now, they've got it recorded. One of the guys gets his drum kit out and starts playing the drums. Surely he wouldn't need to play the drums if they've got it recorded and they're playing it over large speakers anyway.
From how I gathered, that the music that's playing from the speakers was just the singing and the chanting. There's no drum beat in it.
So he got them, okay, I like this, but no drumming, just the vocalists, and I'll do a sick mix when I get back. I'll do like a
sick mix. Do you notice he was using the exact same drum that they use on the island as well, because it had the same patterns and colours on it?
Yep, he stole it.
It's the same prop. Yeah.
He stole it after he killed them all with cigarettes. That's what he did. Picked up that kid, fed it to the giant octopus, and stole his drum kit.
Pretty much, yeah. And then they stole Kong as well.
Giant Kong. They built a raft. They must have had to cut down every single tree on that bloody island to make that raft.
To build a raft, yeah. And then it was a good idea, I thought, this laying the raft of TNT to, blow it up if they needed to, which they do have to, because Kong wakes up and they all start freaking out because they've been told they can't bring Kong into Japan. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. You're not allowed to bring a giant ape into the country because it might be a bit of a threat.
Yeah, and at this point, Japan's probably been ground zero for several Godzilla showdowns anyway, so they don't want more trouble.
Exactly. And then what I like as well is, I mean, they could have been right in the middle of the ocean, but wherever they were, luckily it was shallow enough that Kong could stand up in it.
Well, maybe he's a good swimmer. He does live on an island. So
can normal apes and gorillas swim?
I mean, maybe.
I mean, I don't know, because it's fucking... because they blow this raft up, and it's in the middle of the ocean. And then Kong's just like, he's not swimming; he just stands up. He's not paddling. He's not trying to keep afloat, waving the arm. He's just standing there. So that felt like he found the bottom of the seabed, and he's just standing on it. So they must be in really shallow waters, because this is not a big Kong, like you said.
He is pretty big. He's a big Kong. He's bigger than some buildings, so maybe he is like tiptoeing on the surface. I mean, he must be able to swim, because at the end of the film he's swimming back to his island.
I have some things to that, because he's not swimming, he walks out into the sea, and even the news radio's like, now Kong's got the long walk back home. And I was thinking, he's just going to drown. He's not going to be able to walk all the way through the ocean and get there. Even if he does start swimming, what is he, Japan to this island? I don't know how far the distance is, but I don't think Kong's going to be able to swim the whole time. He's just going to drown. That's Kong's dead. He's killed himself.
Probably. What else can I talk about? Yeah, if you're a pharmaceutical man, Chris, and you want to sell your magical pills,
yes.
Do you think bringing in a giant city-destroying gorilla's the best way to do it?
Yes. Because you go, oh, look at Kong, and you do the Jack Black thing, don't you, from the Peter Jackson movie? Oh, here's Kong, the eighth wonder of the world. You have him chained up. Oh, how you have these berries, you can be big and strong like him. Also, you want to see Kong, you pay up for that. You pay for my berry drug, and you pay to see Kong. Money, money, money. Downside is Kong's always going to break free regardless. It doesn't matter. Nobody ever learns. Whenever you bring a massive creature into a city, doesn't matter what it is, it will always break free.
Exactly.
If you can find a way to probably contain it, I think it's a brilliant idea to bring Kong in and make him suffer and turn him into a puppet that you just poke with a stick and go, literally performing monkey.
Look, I don't think King Kong would appreciate that, Chris.
Don't matter. You keep him chained up. You have a lightning rod near him to conduct the electricity so he doesn't get struck by lightning and go, oh, power up, or anything like that.
The electricity thing's weird. Godzilla murders a bunch of remote control tanks.
Oh, the fucking tiny toy tanks. This is what I enjoy about this. Obviously, because Godzilla and Kong, they're just actors in suits. And so they're having to use miniature sets, and there's a bit where Godzilla's walking into an army base, isn't it? And the tanks are rolling out, and you can so clearly tell they're toy tanks. The same when later on they're doing construction stuff, and they're so, they're so toy-y. That's what I'm trying to get across. And do you know what? I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
the miniature stuff is good. Like the buildings and stuff, there's attention to detail in them, and you think it takes the art department probably weeks to build and paint something like this, and then the actors come in and destroy it in like 5 seconds by flailing about in giant monkey and lizard costumes.
I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? Do you think the art people are pissed? I don't think they're pissed, because they're like, this is what the art was made for.
They know it's gonna be wrecked, but it's still good work, Chris.
I thought it was great, actually. I thought I wasn't going to like it that much, but I enjoyed this film much more than what I thought I would.
I tolerated this film, Chris, I'm not going to lie.
Really? I thought you would have loved it.
Look, it's got its moment. For a 90-minute film, it is a little bit of a slog. It's slow, but that's the 60s. Maybe my patience is running thin.
Perhaps it is, because I didn't find it slow at all. I thought it was a decent paced film, and I wasn't looking at the clock thinking, oh, God, it's like 40 minutes left. I paused it at one point and went, we've still got 40 minutes left. Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Given that last week we watched a 4-hour film, you'd think I'd be happy with a brisk 90-minute film, but yeah, there was too much drumming in it.
There was one extended dancing. That was it. That scene went on for too long. What did you think of when Kong and Godzilla finally met? They have their first showdown in like a foresty area, and Godzilla has the upper ground. Which, as we know from Star Wars, the high ground, which you know from Star Wars is always going to make you win, which in this case, Godzilla does win, makes Kong look like a little bitch.
Yeah, well, I like it, because I know that these pull off some wrestling moves and drop kicks and shit like that, but that first encounter is very, like, animals in the wild. They don't want to get into a fight, so they're just posing and trying to intimidate the other, and then Godzilla gives Kong a taste of his nuclear breath, and Kong's like, well, fuck that, I'm off. I don't want to deal with this shit. You can breathe fire. Nope, I'm gone. I'm made of hair. I'm leaving with what little hair I have left. And then he gets knocked out by the magic berries. and then very unceremoniously just dropped into the middle of the fight with a bunch of balloons on some magic fishing wire, and is basically told to go on, give him a good kick in.
I quite enjoyed that, how they moved Kong about. Yeah, they attached this wire to him, this super strong wire, then had essentially hot air balloons, how they lifted him up. I quite enjoyed that. I was laughing at that the whole way through, thinking this is amazing.
Yeah. Not very dignified, though.
Who cares about being dignified? You just want to see him fight, don't you?
He's a great, noble animal, Chris. King of the Kongs. He deserves more respect.
He's an ape that gets high on berries.
You're just dropping him. He's going to be a bit baboonzled when he drops down and he's sliding down a mountain into the face of a giant lizard that can breathe fire.
Yeah, that might confuse him a little bit, but it should enrage him at the same time, which it does. And then they have a little slap thing. You've got Godzilla doing, as you put it, the chicken dance, where his arms are just back and forth, back and forth. You've got Kong, who doesn't act like a gorilla in any way, shape or form, and just puts his arms up in the air screaming.
Yeah. His arms also change lengths as well. They stuck sticks into the costume. But for the fight scenes, because the actor in the suit obviously needs to be able to move his arms to pull off some of the fight choreography, they take him out, so his arm length changes.
Oh, so his arms are shorter during the fight and then longer outside of the fights.
Yep.
And that in-universe explanation, Magic Berries did it.
Yeah. I mean...
I don't know why.
Filmmaking-wise, I think it's a bit of a howler monkey.
A howler monkey?
Yeah, I've just been adding 8 puns.
Oh, for God's sakes. You've been waiting to get that off, haven't you?
I've been sneaking them in, Chris. You've just not been paying attention.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't grill me about it, but...
Oh, shut up. Do you have any more? Do you just want to get them out of the way?
No, you listen back to this. I've been putting them in not very subtly.
I see. I'm just so accustomed to it that I just tune your nonsense out.
Unbelievable. Well, Kong's not putting up with any nonsense. He tries to sneak up on Godzilla, puts him in a not a chokehold. He grabs his tail and tries to swing him around, but he can't because he's not juiced up yet, Chris, on lightning.
Obviously, makes sense. Yeah, so Godzilla, the best thing about this is when I think Godzilla flips him over, and then when he gets up again, Godzilla runs at him, and there's almost like a stop animation type thing where he kicks Kong.
Yeah.
And then, which I quite enjoyed that. And then Kong's laying there, and then Godzilla's just being a dick, just whipping rocks at him.
Yeah, and smacking him with his tail. Look,
that was good.
If history had been changed and this film was done in America, it wouldn't have been done the Toho way with the suits and small sets around it. It would have been done with that stop motion stuff that we got a few seconds of in this fight, because that was how Kong was done for since his inception, which would have been different. Do you reckon it would have been better if they'd have done it stop motion like that, or do you like the Toho style?
Well, I mean, I've seen old films with stop motion before, but this is actually the first film I've seen where it's a Toho style, you say, when they're in costumes and stuff. I knew it existed. I'd never actually watched anything when they'd done it, though, so I quite enjoyed it this way, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's got a certain charm to it. I have seen some older Godzillas before. I couldn't name you any of the films that I've seen. I know I've seen one with Mecha-Godzilla and a giant teddy bear type thing, but I couldn't tell you a name of the film, but I think I enjoyed it when I was younger.
Okay, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it when you were younger, but what would Jack of today think of it? He'd probably go, it's too long. Oh, I need something shorter.
Yeah, Jack needs something less than an hour and a half after watching a 4-hour fucking...
God, that really took it out of you, didn't it? How on earth are you going to watch the Lord of the Rings extended editions?
I'm not.
I mean, they're on for like nearly 4 hours, aren't they?
Well, maybe I'll like that because more interesting things will happen than people in brown face playing the drums or people walking slowly with weird cover music on. There's no pleasing me, Chris. I'm sorry.
I can tell, yes. You're having a film downer at the moment. Don't worry, we'll get your juice back up when the cinemas reopen.
Oh, God. Just hit me with lightning. That'll charge me back up.
Yeah.
So
I love the way how they create a thing. They introduce the thing of Kong being able to absorb lightning, make him stronger, when they build like a power line around Tokyo, because they're like, oh, it's going to repel Godzilla, he doesn't like electricity. And then somebody just goes, yes, but however, it charges Kong and it won't stop him. And it's like, how do they even know that? Especially if Kong's only just been discovered on this island. How did they figure that out at all? When he was unconscious in the raft, was someone just prodding him with a cattle prod? And every time they did, they went, his muscles look bigger.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, how did they know that Godzilla didn't like electricity? Because the guy with the kids' My First Dinosaurs book was like, and like all reptiles, he doesn't like lightning. I was like, what? You serious? Everything's allergic to lightning. I thought you were going to be like, because he's cold-blooded, he's allergic to the cold or something. Not he's allergic to lightning and electricity. Everyone's allergic to electricity, Chris.
Apart from Kong.
Apart from Kong for some reason. What's he got, rubber soles on his feet? I don't know what's going on.
It's got to be the red berries. Maybe if Godzilla had the red berries, he would take the lightning and power up. Also, you think with Godzilla, with his breath, his radiation and all that lot, maybe that you would have thought the lightning would have maybe have helped him. Maybe that could have powered him up more.
Potentially. I don't know. What's the difference between nuclear radiation and lightning? I mean, radiation is waves and sometimes particles. Lightning's electrons and charged stuff and plasma, and I don't know about lightning, Chris.
You just put them together and it works. I don't know.
I didn't Google lightning, how does it make you big and strong like King Kong in 1962's.
Well, maybe you should have done. Yeah. You should have been better prepared for the question. You would have known the lightning question was going to come up.
I should have done the lightning round, Chris. I wasn't ready for it. Nobody's ever ready for the lightning round. Look, so King Kong gets a face full of lightning from the sky. Maybe he summons it like Thor. Maybe it's just a happy coincidence, but he beats up Godzilla, gives him some taser touches, and then they both fall into the water, and then Kong swims away. I mean, Godzilla might still be alive because he is amphibious, as we know, and he's a good swimmer. So if the film had carried on for like 2 minutes longer, it would have just shown Godzilla pulling Kong under the water and drowning him.
That's exactly what I thought when I watched it. And how Kong pops up and starts going. I was thinking, but Godzilla can swim underwater. He can't breathe underwater, but he can hold his breath for a bloody long time. So
yeah, it's kind of a sudden ending. But I can believe that maybe Godzilla got a more of a fight than he wanted and decided, I'll just let him go. I'll swim away and hide. And so long as he doesn't chase after me, I don't have to fight him. So
you reckon Godzilla survived it and just went, you know what, I've had enough of his little electric touches and that lot. I'm just going to go off and terrorise Japan. That's all I want to do is terrorise Japan.
Exactly. It's his favourite hobby.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Although the guy does say, doesn't he, the scientist does point out, he's like, Kong is a thinker, but Godzilla is just all power and brawn. He's got a tiny brain. He holds up a pip and goes, Godzilla's brain is this size. I was thinking, it can't surely be that size of the pip. Does he just mean like, he's using it in comparison, like, because he holds up a tiny ass pip and he's like, this is the size of Godzilla's brain. I'm thinking, well, his skull's about 5 times the size of that, so how the fuck can his brain be that big?
Yeah, I think it's like a comparison sort of thing. Like compared to a regular skull of a gorilla, then I don't...
It doesn't matter. Well, Godzilla's not a thinker, that's what it's saying. Godzilla's all instinct, so yeah, maybe it was an instinctive retreat, to fight and live and fight another day type thing.
Yeah, I did think there was one point, but I can't remember where Godzilla does do some thinking, but I can't remember when it was. I mean, if Godzilla was more of a thinker, he would have just cooked King Kong while he was down instead of just slapping him with his tail ineffectively.
Yeah, he should have just done what's his actual attack called? They call it is it a mega beam or hyper beam or something like that?
Laser vision.
Laser vision.
Omega beams.
Omega beams, yes, Omega beams. He should have just done, like you said, when Kong was pinned under the rocks, just done it then, and then roasted Kong. Then he could have eaten him.
Exactly.
But no, he wanted to tail slap him repeatedly in the face. That's sort of like an insult attack, isn't it? Like, yeah, I've beaten you. Ooh, yeah, taste my tail.
Yeah, I don't know why he would do that, though, because he's not a thinker. So why has he got high enough brain function to know that this would humiliate his rival?
Animal instinct to show dominance, then.
Really? Well, then sit on him.
Sit on him.
Sit on him and give him a noogie.
It's fine. He got a tail slap repeatedly in the face. I was laughing the whole way through. That was brilliant.
Fucking, and the chicken dance. He's doing a chicken dance and there's this weird, like, thudding or something as well when he's doing it. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, Kong gets back up and beats the shit out of him. So yeah, there we go. I was going to say how do we get Godzilla to win this fight, but we've just discussed it. You flame breath Kong.
Flame breath Kong when he's down, yeah, because unless Kong's got his lightning power, son of Thor and that lot, he's Godzilla is the superior beast.
I mean, he's still made of fur. Lightning,
Kong is.
Yeah, lightning powers or not. I don't think lightning insulates you from being set on fire.
It don't matter, does it? Red berry juice.
Oh, fucking red berries. Do you reckon the red berries made the pharmaceutical company any money? Were they a profitable venture?
I don't think so, because the guy says, I'm the one responsible for Kong. So after all this is done, all the damage, and I'm like, right, dickhead, you say you're responsible for Kong, you're going to be paying up billions and billions of whatever their currency is they use. Yeah,
lots of it.
Exactly. So I reckon he's about to lose his job and his company, and he's probably going to go to jail because they're going to hold him responsible for bringing Kong in the first place.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword because he defeats Godzilla, but he does cause a heck of a lot of damage as well in a city somewhere. He derails a train and terrorizes a woman. She's got terrible luck because she runs into King Kong and Godzilla, both on trains.
And survives both of them.
Yeah.
So if anything, she's got brilliant luck.
I mean, she faints and then we never see her again. I couldn't tell you a single name of any of the characters in this film.
Could you not? Hang on.
I couldn't, because there are lots, but they are given 0 screen time.
Yeah, I can't actually give you any either.
No.
But I like the dubbing over the Japanese characters.
Yeah, I mean, it's done well. I mean, I don't really watch enough foreign language films to comment on dubbing and stuff like that, but it was fine. It wasn't too off-putting, and the voices kind of matched the tone that they looked like they were going for. So when characters were being over the top comic relief, then the voices matched. So yeah, good stuff, Chris, for the 60s, I guess. I guess this was entertainment back then.
I found it entertaining now. I would recommend to anybody to watch this movie after you've had 1 or 2 drinks. Maybe if you were completely sober like Jack, you wouldn't like it as much.
Yeah, maybe that's where I went wrong. Don't get me wrong, there were some funny moments. I think it is played intentionally for laughs as well. It's not just, haha, look at this quaint little thing from the 60s. There are genuine attempts at comedy, like slapstick sort of stuff. Which I appreciated, that it didn't take itself too seriously. Like, I'm guessing the 2021 version will take itself seriously.
There's going to be like 2 jokes in it and they're going to be terrible, and like the whole film is just going to fall flat on its face.
Oh my god, we're doomed.
I really want it to be good, but after King of the Monsters, it's going to suck.
Oh, it's raining. Family betrayal. My wife is a terrorist.
Yes, you've just summed up perfectly the last film.
No. Then she felt kind of bad because she killed... No, not because she killed people, because her daughter's in danger of being killed by a monster that she let loose. Charles Dance got away. Maybe he's in the next film, I don't know. I'm so sad, it's raining. Godzilla's got the Wonder Woman bracelet effects.
It looks like in this new film that Kong, the 2021 one, that Kong has some sort of ancient weapon. I thought it was a bit of debris picked up, but it looks like he's got some sort of weapon that can absorb Godzilla's hyper beam, or whatever it is.
Potentially. Apparently that's one of Godzilla's dorsal fins.
That would make sense.
Yeah, that's why it can absorb an atomic breath blast. But look, so long as the new version's just as entertaining as the 62 version, but hopefully in different ways, and hopefully it's not racist, Chris, then we can all have a good fun time when we come back and talk about it next week, probably. Hopefully it's less Batman v Superman and more this version of King Kong versus Godzilla.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be more Batman versus Superman. And I think you're not going to like it because it's on for more than 2 hours.
I don't have the attention span anymore, Chris. Maybe it's because I'm at home and I'm looking around my room and I've got things to do rather than watch
see, you've got to shut yourself off when you watch movies. That's why you need a home theatre.
Do you have a home theatre?
No, but I've learned how to turn my mind into one so I can shut off from everything else.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Maybe I just need to watch it in a different room.
Try it. I mean, I always watch the films in my lounge, and I like to wait till sunset when the sun's down to watch a movie.
Oh, spooky, scary.
Scary, I know. Yeah. It's brilliant.
Did this film scare you? Were you worried that a giant octopus would try and break down into your house?
The octopus unnerved me. I'm not going to lie. I felt a bit uncomfortable with the octopus thing. And it's going around and that lot. That's mostly because of the sounds. What did you think of the effects when they have to do it, where they have to superpose people over a normal-sized octopus to make it look big? Because they always have that weird blue hue on them, don't they?
Yeah, there's a couple of examples of that when they're firing the missiles as well. But, you know, it as far as examples of that go, it's not the worst I've seen. They did the octopus effect. They caught 4 real octopuses. And as legend has it, 3 of them got released and 1 of them was eaten.
Oh. Waste not, want not, I suppose.
I mean, they let 3 of them go. I'm guessing the one that they ate was the one that behaved the least well on set. So they went, nah, fuck you. We're eating you.
Yeah, well, we couldn't do your scenes properly. Come here.
We're going to eat you. You weren't playing along and didn't give us a good performance. So, yeah, we'll turn you into squid rings and delicious. Delicious.
Well, I mean, they didn't care so much about animal safety back then, did they? The animals were always getting killed in making films around that era.
Yeah, they're always doing blackface as well. It's great stuff. The 60s, ladies and gentlemen. Good times.
You should see, there's amazing on Amazon Prime how many they got the Hammer horror films on there, and I was going through them, and all but one, I went through about 7, and one didn't, but the other 6 all had warnings for blackface on them.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's just all of them. So it's very commonplace back then, it would seem.
Anything else to add, Chris, about this film?
It was a good film, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I did.
Is it because you were drunker than you intended to get?
I was 4 whiskeys in when I watched this movie, so that may have helped. Okay,
that's good. That's a good measure of how good a film is how drunk Chris was. How drunk Chris had to get to enjoy the film. But no, yeah, there's some bright spots in this. But yeah, be warned, not for the faint of heart or those easily offended. But you can email us, Chris. We could survive that at gmail.com, or you can tweet us at We Could Survive if you've got any thoughts on the film. Next week, 2021, Godzilla vs. King Kong.
I don't think it's going to be as good as this one. I think it's going to let me down, and I'm going to have a very negative review of it next week. Who knows? I might actually find it amazing, but I don't think anything's ever going to top the 62 version.
Well,
we just have to accept that.
I thought you liked grim and gritty stuff. I thought you liked the darker side of cinema and everyone being miserable and upset in dark, grey, miserable, rainy worlds.
I don't know. I quite enjoy upbeat films as well.
You've never liked anything.
I find this one quite upbeat. I've seen upbeat films, and I'll tell you about them next week.
Okay, Chris. I guess that's us.
And that's it. Well, thank you to everybody who's been listening to We Could Survive That, your weekly survival guide to the movies. We'll see you next week for the 2021 Kong vs. Godzilla. Until then, keep on surviving, and goodbye.